You're welcome back. Now, the Environmental Protection Agency will, from June this year, clamp down on motorists and motorbikes who emit smog-forming pollutants from vehicles and motorbikes. Now, the Deputy Director of the EPA, Ebenezer Apasampong, announced this when he said his outfit will come up with a new standard to decrease emissions of dangerous pollutants from engines. Now, he was saying this at an Accra Metropolitan Assembly roundtable discussion on climate change. Now, Henry Kwesi was there. Here's his report. But pay attention to how many people die from pollution every year.
Dangerous fumes. Exposure of carbon monoxide can cause headaches, dizziness, nausea and fatigue. Overexposure, however, could lead to death. Unfortunately, many vehicles and motorbikes in the country emit such poisonous fumes which can harm lives and the environment. With transportation being a major cause of air pollution in Ghana, the World Health Organization estimates that air pollution kills an alarming 28,000 Ghanaians in a year.
Air pollution today kills around 7 million people globally, and that is very much the case for Ghana and for Greater Accra region as well. In particular, for Greater Accra region, the initial estimates derived from the collaborative effort of the Urban Health Initiative show that every single year about 2,000 people die due to air pollution-related conditions. And what does that mean? Which are the diseases affected by air pollution? These are respiratory diseases, but also cardiovascular diseases, myocardial infarction, stroke, also lung cancer, pneumonia, particularly for children, but also for adults.
In densely congested traffic, drivers, passengers and pedestrians are exposed to a cocktail of harmful fumes. Acute respiratory illness caused by air pollution is one of the top 5 causes of outpatient hospital visits in the country, according to the Ghana Health Service.
Sometimes when people die and we are doing post-mortem, when we cut them open and we slice up the lungs, you see black dots in the lungs, telling you how much of these things they have inhaled over the course of their lifetime.
However, from June 2019, the Environmental Protection Agency says it has an elaborate plan to deal with the problem. Ebenezer Apasampong is Deputy Director of the agency.
But we've been working to introduce some motor emission control systems or programs in this country. The first block is to do the studies which we have done to develop a standard for vehicle emissions, and fortunately that has been done together with the Ghana Standards Authority. So now we do have a national standards for vehicle emissions. Your vehicle will have to go through some remedial process to ensure that the engine is fixed, and then before you can be brought back onto the road. The standard certainly will be adopted this year, hopefully in June.
One of the greatest challenges the human race is confronted with is that of global warming and climate change, which is mainly caused by emission of dangerous gases, with exhaust gas known to pollute the air more often due to the increase in demand for the use of motor vehicles. In the world at large, Ghana has a lot of work to do to achieve SDG goal of ensuring good health and well-being. Henry Kwesi report for JoyNews.
Right, let's learn a little bit more about this. The Deputy Director of the EPA, Ebenezer Apasampong, joins us on the line right now. Mr. Apasampong, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And good morning.
Good morning.
Right, it's a bit hard to hear you, Mr. Apasampong, if you can speak up for us.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Mr. Apasampong, in the Ghanaian Times, there's a rather disturbing statistic that air pollution is actually killing 20,000 Ghanaians every year. Is this correct?
Well, that's from the statistics that the World Health Organization has put out. And they all lead to some health-related issues. Once you inhale them, the pollutants, that is the potential outcome
Right.
of such exposure. Yeah.
But isn't that actually more than the number of people who die from road accidents every year?
Well, that is the situation we find ourselves. I mean, the literature even saying that it may be even outpacing malaria and others. You know, from health, respiratory diseases and pollution exposure-related diseases, as the doctors have said.
Right.
So it's quite. It calls for some action, you know, to gradually deal with the issue.
Now, around the world, countries are under a lot of pressure to control their emissions. Ghana's net emissions don't really compare much to the countries that are constantly on the world stage being criticized for destroying our ozone layer. But forget the ozone layer, we're destroying our own people. So what is the difficulty here? Is the EPA finding it difficult to ensure that vehicles that do not meet the emission criteria are removed from the road? Is it a difficulty?
Well, first of all, just to bring some context to this, the transport sector is a contributor to this situation, but it's not the only sector. We have some other sources of pollution indoor, which is a major one, from the way we cook. Especially the women and children are exposed to African habits, the stoves that we use. And then you have some practices like the burning of waste, ice, e-waste, and other things. So they are also potential sources. We know that the transport sector is a major contributor. It is not a difficult thing to address it, as you put it. But we need to put in a process, you know, to ensure that, first of all, you know, the difficult problem has been established. Then you know, you put in various legislative and policy instruments to help you address that. So for us, we've been collecting a lot of data to help us, as historians, to set standards, you know, for regular emission control program.
Right.
So that you have to do it with all the other stakeholders, which we have done under the leadership of the Ghana Standards Authority. And then we provided the technical support together with other stakeholders so that we come out with a standard that can characterize us as a national one. You look at your conditions and you look at the some standards elsewhere, and then you try and put in a system, a standard that would address the issue. And then our intention, as you know, is to build it up gradually to the point that we can really have a very good system in place. So the first block is the standards, which we have done. And that is what our story is saying, that I'll draw it in soon. This year, the World Environment Day, and our health. And hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
We want to use that as create awareness about the problem and also some of the measures that we are taking to address that.
Right. Now, am I to take it from what you're telling us that the EPA was not actually aware of these statistics until the WHO put them out?
No, not necessarily. We are aware. I mean, we are aware. Just that you need, there are some national studies that we have even done, and that led to, you know, for instance, the removal of lead in our fuel is one of the measures that we work with all the stakeholders to do. You know, this thing has been worked on it. Studies of lead in blood and all those things of children and other things. So it's not like we are not aware. In actual fact, even when you drive behind a vehicle that is pollutant, you feel it.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm wondering. yeah, I'm wondering if you've been aware of this all this time, then why have you not yet put these measures in place? You're telling me about all the measures that need to be put in place. Why are they not already in place?
It's not a one day event. Even when you are building, you start from foundation.
So when did you start? When did the EPA start trying to put measures in place to control emissions?
What we are going to do to address them, instead of trying to go back to history. The issue is that there's a problem. We are working on it. We have put in place a system, the standard. The next step is to work with the various stakeholders to develop that program, because we are not we need to work with other entities. DVLA is a key player in this space. You have the police also as a key player. You have even the customs, because you're bringing in vehicles and licensing them and all that.
Yeah.
So that we need to work with all these institutions to put in place the program. The base is the standard.
Right.
Then you develop a regulation that will tell you what to do when somebody does not meet the standard, or somebody meets the standard. So there are some of the incentives that you can put in place to ensure that everybody comes on board.
Yeah.
And then we can then clean
I mean, Mr. Apasampo, forgive me. I don't mean to sort of keep harping on this issue, but I am conscious of the fact that if there are historical problems that have not yet been resolved, then you will struggle to go forward with your good intentions. That's the reason why I'm trying to understand what has caused this delay. I mean, to this point, why has it been difficult for the EPA to liaise with these institutions, whether it's police, immigration, customs, and so forth, to make sure that the systems are in place? Can you tell us, I mean, what has caused the delay so far, so that we can have some faith that you've solved those problems and can move forward?
There are delays. What I'm saying is that you need to go through a process. Okay, that process takes time to do. Okay, in the meantime, there have been several, events trying to raise awareness about this issue. There have been several initiatives by other players, civil society organizations, to try and deal with some of the air pollution sources. Like I mentioned the indoor air pollution. There's a whole program on cook stove going on, which is distributed and all that. This time, the focus is more on trying to solve this aspect, which relates to transport.
Right.
Okay. But as I said, there have been several initiatives. I mentioned the removal of the lead in Afro, which is a major one. It was all part of some of the outcomes of the studies that were done, and several other initiatives that MPA and other institutions have been working on to try and clean up. We have gotten to the point where we want to address this particular one that relates to emissions, not only for our health sake, but also to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions as a nation. The transport sector also contributes. Yeah. So I would say that I think that we've come to a good point, that the conditions are just right for us to move to the next level.
Right.
And I'm glad that we are all having this conversation at this time.
You've talked about some of the things you've done so far, mainly sensitization. With 20,000 people dying every year, how effective do you think this sensitization has been?
Well, I mean, if we had not done that, the figures will be higher. And it's not like it's Ghana. You have some statistics, worldwide statistics, and all that. Perhaps if we are not putting these measures, the situation will be worse. Okay, and we need to work on it. As you said, I mean, there's some urgency on this matter, and we are committed to ensuring that process is completed so that we can have a program. I mean, I'm not to say that when you want to put in the program, that's the end of it. You also have to deal with the implementation issues that will come along.
Right. So what is step one? What is the next thing that is going to be done in solving this problem?
The next step is to work on the regulations would tell you how to even do the testing of vehicles. It will tell you what remedial actions should be taken, and all that. We are very advanced with that process, done some stakeholder consultation.
Right.
We are still working on it to make sure that we get it out of there. Once we do that, then the implementation process starts. But as you know, there's a lot of public education that we need to do on this. There's a lot of engagement that we need to have with our stakeholders. We also need to put in the various instruments for testing.
Right.
The end game is to be able to attach it or sort of integrate it into the motor licensing process.
Okay.
That is it.
So when you talk of when you talk of regulation, are you talking about taking something to Parliament, or is it a regulation that will be coming from the EPA?
Certainly.
Taking something to Parliament?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So what's the timeline you are working to? By when do you expect to have a bill
our
ready?
desire is that at least by the end of this year we should have that in place.
By the end of 2019?
Yes, that's our desire.
Right.
But that's not within my purview. It lies with we have to put, as you said, we have to go to Parliament. It also depends on their calendar and all that. But they've been quite supportive. I'm sure we can work with them to get this process in place. Yeah.
So what's the whole plan? Once you've got that bill passed into law, then what? What's the rest of the plan?
The implementation process that we have to work with our stakeholders. As I said, we have to make sure that the testing centers have the capacity to do that, which I know they do. We have to train. We have to raise awareness and all that. Then we can take that. But I think we're in good position. Perhaps we'll be one of the few countries in Africa that have.
So according to the plan you are working with, by which date will we see a law being implemented to ensure that vehicles on our roads meet a certain emissions standard?
I can't really give you a date. I mean, that would be too much for me.
I don't
want to be a false prophet on this matter.
Okay, I assumed you had a plan that you were working to. Aren't you working to a plan?
Said, a lot lies outside our state, but what lies within our control is getting the regulations done.
Right.
The rest we have to work with our stakeholders to do that.
Okay, a bit of
everybody has a desire to put this in place. There's even a standard setting process. There's not a one institution process. There were many stakeholders who were part of it. So that shows the desire that we have to ensure that we address.
A bit of education, please. You mentioned that transport emissions are not the only emissions that are contributing to the pollution. But would transport be the biggest source, or is there another source of emissions that is even bigger?
It is. But you also have the energy, which is also related anyway. And then you have particularly the sources like the open burning of waste, our waste dump sites. You have the singeing of meat using sites, which is also another one. The issue of e-waste burning, which there's another program dealing with that. And then even the indoor one from domestic sources, from the cook stoves that we use. Most of them are not efficient, and there are processes to also try and educate our mothers, those who are exposed to such things, to introduce some efficiency into this country. A lot of work has been done on that front, I know. And there's also the process of bringing in biogas to try and help deal with some of these issues. So it's a menu of activities that are coming up.
But still, the biggest is transport emissions, right? The biggest source.
Yeah, well, I think that is where we have issues that we need to address.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we have data.
Okay. All right. We'll be keeping an eye on this, Mr. Ampasampong. I mean, because
Okay.
until you do something, 20,000 people will die each year. So end of this year, we will be checking with you to see whether indeed you have been able to fulfill your ambition of getting this bill laid before Parliament. Until then, thank you very much for your time. That's Ebenezer Ampasampong. He's the Deputy Director of the Environmental Protection Agency.